Have you ever felt really connected to somebody? Maybe a friend, maybe a teacher, maybe a friend in childhood, or maybe somebody that you've never actually met in person, but whose work or efforts in life have profoundly affected your own. I think about those kinds of people in my life all the time. And I marvel at how ephemeral and even magical those connections are. Because if I hadn't met them, if they hadn't come into my life, or our paths hadn't crossed, my life would be completely different. That's what this project is all about. As many people know, my passion for metalsmithing came from my obsession with ancient Egyptian art. And I've often talked about the board game I got the Christmas that I was 5 that sparked this obsession. What I've talked about less often are the two incredible families behind that gift. And even more significant than the gift, these families brought music and laughter that would shape my outlook on the world from the age of, well, really less than 2, well into my childhood and far into my adult years. This illuminated manuscript really began when I took a workshop about 4 years ago from Brody Neuschwander. Armed with the story of my incredible gift and these wonderful families, and a deep desire to be able to letter my own stories and text in the handmade books that I began making years ago. And the more I worked on it, the more I realized that this was a story that I needed to have out in the world. We all have these connections and these really lucky moments that really shape our lives. So what I came up with was this idea of doing an interactive ebook animating all of these illuminations. Well, okay, some of these illuminations. And so it would be an interactive book with the animations and a soundtrack and my narration of the story and the kind of sometimes cryptic looking calligraphic text. And then, of course, the whole thing is bound in metal. So the cover is an Eastern Repoussé piece of metal that is actually mokume-gane, and you can see it here in progress. I've started the final chasing on the highest level, which is the lettering. And when I'm finished with all the chasing, then I'll start to grind away sections of this so that the mokume-gane pattern is actually revealed. And there's a surprise here too, because the cover actually becomes one of the animations, but I'm not going to spoil that yet. You'll have to wait for that. So as I began to get this idea, I realized that I'd never have time to learn all of the technology required to put it together. There just aren't enough hours in the day. And the whole time I've been working on it, I've continued to make a significant number of other pieces in metal and other illuminations. I've kept up teaching and traveling to teach workshops, and I still produce tools and instructional materials for the metal arts community. In order to manage the technology, I've put together a team of really stellar people. Steve Walker has just done an exceptional job getting inside my head and creating these animations from the illuminations. My studio assistant, Uruak Ita, has taken our photographs of the book and turned them into digital works of art unto themselves. And I'm really excited that Roddy Knoll, the man who gave me that board game Voice of the Mummy those many, many years ago, is going to do the soundtrack. And of course, I'll be narrating the somewhat cryptic calligraphic parts so that the story can be heard as well as read. The crowdfunding will be used to help offset this cost in order to produce this book in all of these formats. I really appreciate your listening to my story, and I hope you'll help me release it into the world.